Welcome back! In today's tutorial we're making a happy sunshine cake. We all love a bit of sun, don't we? Starting with a 7-inch cake, I've centred it onto a 10-inch cake drum. Just dampen the cake with a spray bottle and a pastry brush. I've rolled out a light lemon colour. This was made with white Renshaw's paste and a touch of yellow paste. Just smooth it down with your hands, gently getting rid of any pleats. Trim off the excess and smooth a clean edge along the bottom with a smedger. Grab your flexi smoothers and buff out any bumps or marks. Run your smoothers around the top for your sharp edges. For a more in-depth tutorial on this technique, I've popped it in the top right hand corner for you. I use these sticky dots you get in stationery shops to mark the front of the cake. No one's perfect, I'm sure most cakes always have a back due to a little imperfection, so this sticky dot always tells me where my front is. Roll out some pink in a horseshoe shape to cover the board. Again, for a more in-depth look on this, I've left a link in the iCard in the top right corner. Place your paste up against the cake, gently pushing it into position. Cut off the back where it overlaps and smooth the join together. Trim off the excess. With a large circle cutter, mark out a guide for our flower wreath. Here I've got some darker yellow, darker pink, mint green, white and the pale pink we used on the board. Time for the details. Have a root through those cake drawers and see what flower cutters you can find. I've got some blossom plungers and some small metal flower cutters as well as a teardrop shape for a leaf. I've also got a bow mould and a petunia vena. This works great for any 5-petal flower. My favourite stuff again, Tylo powder. This works great for anything with popping into a mould or a vena. Rolling out the pale pink, we're going to make a start on the flowers. Choose a cutter and give it a wiggle. Make sure you dust the vena with icing sugar so it doesn't stick. Line your flower up in the vena and gently press together. You can just see it's giving it some shape and definition. Pop this upside down on a foam pad whilst we work on the rest. We need flowers in pale pink and the yellow. I'm using the darker pink in the bow mould. Again, make sure it's well dusted, push the paste in and cut excess off with a knife or a scalpel. Gently brush the edges clean with your finger. Oh, that little bow just popped right out. Place that on the foam pad with the flowers. Now using white, we're going to cut out some small blossoms and a few larger ones. If you don't have many flower cutters, you can make them by hand. Roll out a sausage of pale pink and flatten it with the rolling pin. Run the rolling pin across the top edge to thin it out. Start rolling the end up to make a spiral, and once your rosebud is big enough, pull the paste down and pinch it at the base. Chop the excess off with a scalpel, mind your fingers. You should now have a nice little selection of pieces with lots of small white blossoms to go around the cake. Lastly, we need a few leaves. Just run the Dresden tool down the centre and pinch it at the base. Onto the sun. I'm using a 3-inch polystyrene ball. You could of course use Rice Krispie treats if that's what you prefer, but I like the weightlessness of these, and lots of my customers like to keep the toppers as mini ornaments. Of course, as always, detail any inedible parts on the box. You wouldn't want to make this from pure sugar paste as it would be too heavy and also wouldn't remain round. I've also got a kebab stick cut to size. Then, to keep your hands free, you can pop it into a cake dummy. There's no special reason for the foil, I was just hiding a multicoloured airbrush mess. You want to dampen the ball with spray and roll out the yellow that's deeper than the one we used for the cake. Add this to the ball, smoothing out as many pleats as you can. Once I get near the bottom, I pull all the paste together to get rid of some of the weight. Mine tore a little there, but that was just because I had too much water in that area. Pull off all that extra and continue to pull off as much extra paste as you can. Now, are you ready for this? I'm going to show you how to make the best smoother you could possibly own for shaped cakes or spheres. Take a ball of sugar paste, spread your 3 middle fingers out and slowly press into the ball. Grip the paste with your fingers and that's it. The holy grail of shaped smoothers. It will buff out lumps and leaves it shiny and smooth. The paste shapes itself to your hand and to the object that you're smoothing. Okay, so we're going to play with tappets. I know, I can hear you groan from here. If you're more whack it and snap it rather than tap it, I'm going to show you the secret. Roll out your paste with Tylo powder in really thin. I run mine through a pasta machine just to get an even thickness. You can see that my fingers just about show through. This was on setting 5. Now leave it, don't touch it, don't be tempted, I know you are, but leave it to firm up a bit. Once it holds its shape better, you can cut it into strips so there's less wastage. Press down firmly and wiggle the cutter so it goes all the way through. Then, as the name suggests, you tap it on the edge of the worktop and the letters shoot right out. If they don't, you've either not let the paste set enough, the paste is too thick, or there's not enough Tylo powder in. Once you've cracked it, you'll be aware. We are spelling out the phrase, "You are my sunshine." I've also cut out the name and age in a different font and colour. For the wreath, start adding all your bits and pieces with water, following the guide and covering up the line. Using the rest of the small blossoms, randomly add these around the sides and back of the cake. For the centre of the blossoms, I'm using yellow, and for the yellow flowers in the wreath, I'm using white centres. Place the sun down into the centre of the cake using a little water on the base to stick it. And using a triangle cutter, cut the sun rays out in the same yellow and attach with water. Using a smaller cutter and a paler yellow, add rays in front of the larger ones. Rainbow Dust metallic black paint is great for details. Using a fine brush, paint on happy eyes and a little smile. Small pink dots under the eyes creates a cute bashful smile. For a bow, create chunky triangle shapes and score pleat lines in. Add the 2 triangles touching off centre on the head, if suns have heads. A small dot of sugar paste completes the bow. The last thing to do is stick on the name across the top and the quote across the board. I line them all up first, pushing them around with the Dresden tool. And the age in the centre of the wreath. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Join us next week for an Alice in Wonderland cake. If you don't want to miss it, please whack that subscribe button below. Thanks guys!